Female body language, or the body language of women, is not all that different from that of men. However, female body language does have a few noticeable differences that both sexes can make note of. In this ultimate guide on female body language, I'll teach you the 12 cues that women leak that signal interest, attraction, and even a desire to do a little more. 1. Her shoulders will move toward you. Have you ever had a woman look over her shoulder or raise it? The shoulders may seem innocent, but they also mimic the woman's breast and sexual healthiness. A sideways glance over a raised shoulder highlights curves and the roundness of the female face. This signifies estrogen, exposes the vulnerability of the neck, and releases pheromones. Women instinctively do this when trying to flirt. 2. She'll accidentally touch you. Women actively seek chances to touch others they're interested in. Most women won't directly touch you to signal interest, so they'll test the waters indirectly by making it seem like an accident. A subtle touch on the arm, her fingers grazing against yours, bumping her hips against your hips. You might be thinking, "Oh, that was just an accident." But chances are you'd be so wrong. In the world of body language, there are no accidents. Don't mistake an accidental touch for an accident. If you notice her touching you, it might be an accident, sure. But if it happens for a second time, or a third, she may truly be interested in you. 3. Her face will show desire. Did you know women's faces are generally more expressive than men's? If you pay close attention, a woman who's displaying interest cues will leak out signs of desire on her face. Her lips will slightly part. Are her lips slightly parted? Slightly parted lips also mimic female genitalia. It suggests the genital echo. Her eyes will flutter. She may briefly flutter her eyelids at you. This may be more obvious with a slight downward tilt of her head. 4. She'll open up her body. Her body language will signal openness rather than being closed off. Things to look for include: are her arms more open around you? Are they freely moving and not held closely to her body? Women are more likely to fold their arms across their torso around aggressive or unattractive men. But if they find you attractive, they'll open their body up. Crossed legs doesn't necessarily mean she's not into you. This could just be an attraction signal. Make sure to note the direction of her knees to see if she's pointing toward you or away from you. Watch her body language, as a more relaxed body indicates comfort and attraction. 5. She'll expose her thigh. Even though crossing legs may be a closed-off cue, some women may cross their legs to expose their thighs. Women may do this especially if they're wearing a short skirt, shorts, or tight leggings. 6. She'll blink more. An anthropologist says that rapid eye blink, or eyelash flutter, means you've raised the blinker's level of psychological arousal. When a woman suddenly blinks faster, you may have increased her level of sexual excitement. You might notice a sudden rapid eye blink when you tell an amazing story of you being a cool, exciting, funny guy. This is a subliminal way of saying, "You've captured my interest." 7. She'll roll her hips. How does a woman shift, groove, and gyrate her hips? Women naturally have wider hips than men, and a woman who is attracted to you might sway her hips back and forth more than normal. The back and forth motion can easily be seen when walking, especially if a woman goes to the restroom. She'll likely assume you're watching. Look for the hip sway. This movement invites attention and exaggerates the fullness of her hips and buttocks. 8. She'll make herself look more submissive. Women struggle with trying to stand their ground while not intimidating men. From a body language perspective, this happens in a number of ways. Women use cues of submissiveness to show vulnerability, but can also employ certain moves for assertiveness to show they are not pushovers. Women pluck their eyebrows higher up their forehead because it makes them look more helpless. This causes a hormone release in a man's brain connected with protecting and defending the female. Oddly, a limp wrist or exposed wrists are a sign of submission, and both women and homosexual men tend to subconsciously do this when in a room with people they want to attract. Just like how weak prey in the wild might run limp away from its predators, a limp wrist invites another to dominate her. This is why, while smoking, many women hold the cigarette with one wrist turned out and exposed. When women want to be assertive, they can stand with their feet spread farther apart. This claiming of territory is a subconscious cue to men that the woman is feeling confident. 9. She'll preen herself. Women will constantly preen themselves to maximize their attractiveness. Women stroke their hair and twirl it around their fingers. They might even do this unconsciously while talking to someone they like. Preening the hair not only makes it appear better groomed, but it also draws attention to the hair since our eyes are attracted to movement. Some women may put on makeup, even during a date. If she excuses herself to the bathroom and you notice a fresh coat of lipstick, this is a signal she's trying to look her best. Pay close attention to her appearance before and after she goes to the restroom. You might notice small but subtle changes. If you're walking by a mirror or window, you might notice her paying close attention to her appearance. She might be checking to make sure she looks her best. 10. She'll slowly caress nearby objects. If the desire to touch is so strong, but it may be inappropriate to do so, you might see her behavior transfer to touching other objects. A woman may caress, stroke, and fondle a wine glass or the cup she's drinking from. This is a form of object transference. Objects that are phallic in nature may even come into play, such as a pen or even her phone. Fidgeting with keys is another form of object transference. She might stroke her car keys or rub them between her fingers to release her pent-up energy. 11. She'll lick her lips. A woman's outer genital lips are proportionately the same thickness as her facial lips. It sounds raunchy, but lips are a form of self-mimicry intended to symbolize the female genital region. If she's attracted to you, she'll lick her lips to make her lips shinier and more inviting. Licking also makes her tongue make movements that draw attention to them. Licking lips can also mean that her mouth is drying out, but this can also mean attraction, since a dry mouth can be a side effect of increased breathing rate if she's attracted. You might also notice her wearing glossy or red lipstick. Women do this to call attention to their lips. 12. She'll move to the groove. Is there ambient music playing? If you're at a bar, club, or even networking event, you might notice her keeping time with the music by moving her body back and forth. It can even be very subtle. Movements like these help illustrate that she's keeping the social vibes high, and it's also a nonverbal way to say she's having a good time. All great signs when it comes to attraction. By paying attention to these 12 cues, you can better navigate social interactions and recognize when a woman may be signaling her attraction to you. However, it's essential to remember that body language is just one aspect of communication, and context matters. Cultural differences, individual personalities, and social norms can all influence how someone expresses themselves nonverbally.